Hey everyone, welcome back to Get Hands Dirty. Today we're stepping away from woodworking for a bit in order to dive into something pretty exciting. I've just gotten my hands on my first Filament 3D printer, the Bambu Lab A1, and we're going to explore what this machine can do, especially if you don't know how to model in 3D. Now, I know a lot of you might be thinking, I can't draw or model anything in 3D. What's the point of having one of these printers? Well, that's exactly what I'm here to test. Do you really need to make custom designs to get useful results as a beginner? With all the free resources available online, you can download ready-made 3D models and print them yourself, just like I've been doing. I can draw and sketch up things like furniture pieces and other non-organic shapes, but I still don't know how to truly 3D model. That's what's been keeping me away from these printers until now. So the 3D printing world has come a long way. It seems easier than ever to use one of these for functional and fun projects. So let's dive in and see if a tool like this has any good value. I focused mainly on functional stuff for my workshop and apartment. My point was to solve small issues while doing the annual cleaning. First up, I printed a dust port for my Bloom Echo drill hinge installation jig. It's a crucial part of keeping a good workflow with this tool. I just mentioned in my previous video that this jig really needed a dust and chip extraction to be truly usable. In just a few hours, I was able to search, download, and have it printed. I will leave the link to the A1 printer in the description, as well as the models I downloaded and filament details I used for each print, so you can take a look. I printed a few knobs to replace handles that I didn't like. Here are a few knobs for my bandsaw that I'm more fond of. I found a smaller, more ergonomic knob for my DeWalt planer. It seems like a lot of people already swapped the stock handle for a similar solution. It operates even better and it's a lot smaller. I was looking for that in order to prevent it from hitting the table leg while moving the planer around. I added a zip tie organizer to keep things tidy that hooks directly into the IKEA shelving system. As I was doing my New Year's cleaning, I needed to find a place for my miter gauges. I found a model that seemed to work for my purpose and printed 2 miter gauge holders, only changing their height in Bambu Studio, which is Bambu Lab's software. Besides the yellow, I tried the red marble filament, which looks really cool. Some filaments really bring the visual appeal of an object to another level. Something I've been wanting to do for years is install this Wixie digital readout for my router table. This year I thought, enough is enough, I'll wait no more. It comes with a hinging bracket, but it doesn't fit my tabletop very well, so I decided to print a hinge dimension to fit the holes in the back of the device. It doesn't protrude as much, and I'm super happy with this small upgrade. This video is all about solving small functional problems around the shop, and so far I didn't draw a thing. We are about to deviate slightly because I was tired of hitting the old door handle in my bathroom, since I can't open it completely due to the stuff that's behind it. I wanted a round and flat handle in matte black, but I couldn't find anything in the stores for less than $100, so I printed one with matte black PLA, which cost me nearly anything. The drawing was pretty easy to make. I used SketchUp because it's the program I'm comfortable with for making my furniture models, but I'm sure this kind of construction can be achieved with any free basic 3D software. Before going any further, we need to take care of the filament poop the printer creates. Every time you start a print or there's a color change, the machine purges the filament that remains in the extruder. This produces some waste that in the community is called poop. The good news about these purges is that the material is recyclable and reusable. To collect these bits and prevent a mess on the table and floor, it's a good idea to print a poop chute. I chose one that requires small quantities of filament and is quite tall to accommodate any Z-axis movements in my future prints. This print came out amazing despite being very tall and with thin walls. I can say I am amazed by the quality of the prints from this A1 printer, especially for the low price. The A1 is pretty affordable for the quality and features you get. The initial setup is quick too. You just take it out of the box, do a quick assembly, about 15 minutes, and you're good to go. The max printing volume is around a cube of 250 millimeters, which is quite good. I can finally catch all those poopsies that were being shot all over the left side. Now that I have officially decided it is worth keeping this tool in my studio, I need to find a place for it. I still need to build a cabinet, probably in acrylic, but one thing I'm sure of is that it needs to occupy as little horizontal area as possible. To achieve that, I went ahead and downloaded the AMS top mount from MakerWorld. This model was created by Bambolet themselves, so I should have no problems with it. I am leaving you with some satisfying sounds of the assembly process. Alright, let's take a break from the workshop for a moment. I also wanted to show you a couple of projects I made for my tiny apartment using the 3D printer. And spoiler alert, these came out amazing and so useful, and I still can't believe I didn't model anything in 3D. So I wear contact lenses, been wearing them for nearly 2 decades now, but recently my eyes started getting really dry and uncomfortable. So I switched to daily lenses, which made a huge difference. But there's a big downside. I ended up with hundreds of tiny lens cartridges in my bathroom and had no good way to store them. I typically grab a set of 5 for each eye every 5 days and had them lying somewhere in the mirror cabinet, sometimes falling in between my toiletries. So I went online and started looking for designs. I realized though that Maker World has some of the best designs overall. Also, they are specifically tailored for Bambu Lab printers. After browsing for a bit, I found one that fit my needs perfectly. At first, I was a little worried about whether it would work, to be honest. I had read some reviews about other lens dispensers where people complained that the cartridges didn't fit properly or that they'd get stuck and not come out smoothly. So I printed it in white PLA filament, crossed my fingers, and took it to my bathroom to give it a try. This model is meant to be stuck to the wall with command strips, and that's what I'm using to install mine in the cabinet door. It took me a few minutes to find the best position to place the lenses in the dispenser. Having this flat part that works as a hook facing the front worked like a charm. I also realized that inserting them from the bottom up works best and prevents them from turning around, which was happening when charging from the top. The lenses slid out smoothly. Now it's super easy to grab them whenever I need them. I can fit 25 lenses for each eye. It may vary depending on the brand of your lenses, but if I were going to print this again, I would change the middle part of the model to make it a bit taller so that I could fit an entire month worth of lenses. Now let's talk about the second project I tackled at home, my kitchen drawer. If you've ever had a drawer like this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. My cutlery and utensil drawer was an absolute mess. It was full of random items, and worst of all, I was wasting a ton of space. Every time I opened it, I couldn't stand the chaos. It was the perfect time to take action and finally give this drawer some structure. I came up with the idea to build 2 levels, one for the kitchen utensils and small tools, and the other a top level that would hold the silverware. Of course, this drawer isn't the standard size, so finding dividers that fit was pretty much impossible. I could have made a bunch of small wooden boxes to organize it, but since I was testing out my new 3D printer, I thought, why not put it to work and use it for this custom project? The only thing is, I didn't want to dive into 3D modeling. Thankfully, I found a tool called bento3d.design. It's an online configurator for making custom boxes. You can select the outer dimensions and add partitions to fit your specific needs. It's not fully customizable in terms of every little dimension, but it's still a fantastic tool, especially for beginners, and it's something I'll definitely be using again. I quickly drew all the partitions I needed using Bento 3D, downloaded the files, and loaded them into Bamboo Studio. With just a few clicks, I had a custom-sized box ready to print. I used the stackable option to create a second level for some of the smaller boxes. The program creates a lip in the underside of the top box and a raised bottom. This makes for some material waste, but after printing the first one, I changed the settings to reduce the density of the supports and therefore reduce the wasted PLA. Now, the printer has a limited printing bed, which means I couldn't print all the dividers in one go. I had to use the cutting tool and dovetail joints in the Bamboo Lab software to split the larger parts into manageable sections. It's a really cool feature and it made the whole thing fit together, but I wouldn't say it was perfect. It doesn't matter for this project since you barely see the boxes with everything in. I used CA glue and a spray activator to bond the parts together. Once all the 3D printed partitions were done, it was time for some woodworking. For the top level, I needed a large tray that would slide back and forth with these organizers in. It felt good to cut wood after so many days of cleaning and 3D printing. I built a tray using Baltic birch plywood. I just cut a few strips on the table saw, glued and nailed them together. Then I went to the router table to round over the outer edges for a smooth and softer feel. I didn't apply any finish yet as I was in a hurry to get this assembled, but we'll probably apply varnish to the tray in the next few days since dirty hands will be messing with it pretty often. I added a strip of plywood to the outer sides of the drawer box and applied Gorilla Glue. This bottle was incredibly hard to squeeze, but there was still good usable glue inside. I moistened the surface with a damp paper towel and clamped the strips in place. After a couple of hours, I could remove the clamps and clean the excess squeeze out. It's finally time to insert the organizers. For now, the large spacing in the back is empty as I want to use this a bit first and see if I really need to print such a large box. The kitchen items can all be stored and organized. I've taken measurements for some specific objects, like the scissors, to make sure the box sizes weren't too random and made unusable. But for other items, I just find where they can fit and place them in there. The skimmer was the only utensil that was too tall to fit within the drawer box height, so I placed it with the head towards the back to allow more room for the tray to slide. As you can see, the tray hits it at the back, but that's okay as it only makes the spatula partition inaccessible without having to lift the tray. The tray fits perfectly with the 3D printed dividers. Honestly, I couldn't have asked for a better result. It's a huge improvement over what I had before, and now my kitchen drawer is so much more organized. I still need to apply a finish to the wood, but for now, it's already 100 times better than it was. At the front, I decided to make these two partitions taller, exactly to prevent the tray from coming all the way to the drawer front. This makes vertical room for the coasters and keeps an empty area in the middle for the handle. If the tray hits the drawer front, inserting the hand to open the drawer becomes impossible. 3D printing projects can be very distinct from each other, from large and dense to paper thin. I fell in love with some forged cord designs and test printed their clicky cacti, which uses keyboard switches as satisfying buttons. I was able to notice how different filaments achieve different results using the exact same files and settings. On the left, we have a wood filament that is super matte, and on the right, we have the marble PLA. And I can observe that the starting points of each layer seem better disguised on the right. I was intrigued to see a print-in-place hinged object, so I printed this flexible balanced toy. It came out excellent, and I'm honestly amazed by what this printer can do. I hope this video inspires you to tackle your organization project for any other part of your home or workspace that could use a little extra attention. 3D printing opens up so many possibilities, and I love how easy it can be for anyone to make their space so much more functional and satisfying to use. The A1 printer feels solid, and I can safely recommend it to any beginner wanting to achieve great quality prints. You can send the files via wireless to the printer, and you can control it via the touchscreen. Turning the light on and off can be useful for long prints when at night you want to check how the print is going. It has an integrated camera, which is not amazing, but it's convenient to babysit the print via the phone app. Ooh, oh my god, so pretty. And so freaking smooth. Damn. Just look at that. It almost looks like paper. Like printed paper. Alright, that's it for this experiment. I hope this gives you some good ideas on how you can use 3D printing in your life and business. Now it's your turn to get your hands dirty. Até já!